Hi friends, rainbow time. So you got a little bit of me and the rainbows. I've got some more crystals in the window. So maybe we'll have a little bit to enjoy here. This is the one I mentioned in my last video. This is called Mother Love and the Hummingbirds. And it's another journal written on October 4th, 2010, the 3rd of that day. And that Mayan day was one monkey. Okay. A certain amount of pain must come into each life. We wouldn't be able to have life at this level, 3D, without that. It's the weaving in of the light and the dark that together make up the picture. Every image requires both. This is simply inherent in life at this 3D level, and I think it's time we quit crying about it and just accept it and go on. Pain comes with life, just as joy does. It is what it is. Fighting such things is a waste. It gets you nowhere. You can't prove this wrong. And you know, the light and the dark, if it wasn't dark in this room, you wouldn't see the pretty prisms from the rainbows. Okay, so all lives are made up likewise of the shadow and the light, all mixed in. We go through certain seasons and cycles where it seems that one or the other of these is in control, and for a long time sometimes. Yes, this happens. We must be careful, though, to look to the self to see just how much of this we are weaving into our lives. We will find we are responsible for much, for most of it, and this is not bad. It is good, really, for it empowers us by our vision to see and to remove the dark threads, if that's our choice. Yes, we are intended to eventuate into pure light beings. One day all the darkness will be pulled out from the picture. We will ascend at that point up in dimensions quite naturally. So let's get on with it. Let's not be afraid of whatever turns up, okay? Enter heart with me here. Live life from there. You will have no more fear as soon as you master this. You will see. Just do it. Don't question, just do. And stepping out of the journal. And then when you see fear arising, you can look at it and you can say, thanks, but no thanks. Fear is a choice. Questions are of the mind. And see that if you can. One day it will be very clear to everyone, but not as long as you retain identity with the mind. Of course, that cannot be. But once you have the courage and the calling to simply surrender that identity with mind, you will almost immediately begin to see this. It is that apparent, just from another level though, one that can't be reached via the mind. Kismet, get in here. You know, I think he's figured out, just like a little child, when you get on the telephone, they get that figured out that you're busy and they get into mischief. Now you stay in here and leave the kitty alone, okay? Good boy. Okay, so as a matter of fact, come here, puppy. Come here. I want you to meet Kismet. There he is. Say hi, Kismet. Say hi. Yeah, that's my little Kismet. Okay, now you've heard me talk to him often enough. Now you've seen his little body. All right. Okay, so all of that to say that I have been going through a time of pain and challenges. And this is no complaint. And I feel that overall, this is the very best thing that could happen. I always view things that way, or pretty much. What is, it just is. There's no need, no use fighting it. So, In the midst of this, while pondering the lone hummingbird, or maybe the very few I have left around here, and the cold nights now getting into the upper 40s, I was a bit concerned for them. The bulk of them have left on their migration already. Well, that led to my remembrance of the hummingbird nest that was found where the little birds had died. And I wonder, have you heard of this? The mother hummingbird was found there, her wings fully outspread over her chicks. They all died in the unexpected freeze that night. It was and is terribly touching. I know many a tear fell over this. Well, step it back a bit. What we see here is the mother's love. The mother making the ultimate sacrifice very willingly for her little ones. No, the little bird couldn't save the chicks, that's true, but the deep impulse was there. The mother love. This love isn't restricted either to mothers or even to women, my friends. It's an energy. It can flow through anyone, and many of the more advanced men among us are opening themselves, finally, to feelings like this. We're losing our fear, our being boxed in the cage of what masculinity is or is supposed to be. Bunch of garbage. People are people. Let's get rid of these awful stereotypes, and the quicker the better. So anyway, this may never have been discovered, of course. A hummingbird nest is a very small thing. Their little eggs are the size of a woman's little fingernail, with the nail cut back all the way. I said tiny. Their nests are quite tiny as well, their little cups. There was a wonderful woman, a bird watcher, who fed the hummingbirds, keeping track of this nest, however. She did what she could with the help of her husband to put up some protection for them, but it just didn't work out, didn't save their lives. You can imagine her devastation. Heck, you can feel your own on discovering the dead little birds. She was perhaps distraught, but perhaps not. What she was, though, is visionary. She saw the message in it so clearly that she publicized all of this. She took the pictures. How else would I know of it? So, by stepping back, we find another level, another layer of that same mother love here, don't we? We find it in the dear woman. Now, I want you to look within yourself at this news, especially if this is the first time you've heard it, and find that same love in yourself. Do you feel it? Do you recognize those feelings as that? Do you think well enough of yourself to allow that you could feel this way? To the extent of your purity, you will be able to experience the pure mother love of it, and none of the resentment or anger or disappointment or things like that. Just rest in heart and your feelings will be purified. Mother love abides there. And I'm stepping out of the journal. It abides in Gaia too. You'll be taken into such arms of mother love as are practically unimaginable when you connect up with Gaia. All right. Okay. So things have been somewhat difficult for me. There I was, considering my lone hummingbirds, remembering this tale, when my heart erupted into a plea to be surrounded and folded, please, within that same mother love. It was a heart plea, very real. As I left the room where I was and entered my bedroom, I had to stop. I was taken aback. "Oh my God," was my response. I just stood there, realizing something. As I looked around my entirely rainbow-covered room, I realized it. I saw how each and every bright morning I had just exactly that. How I was completely enclosed and enwrapped in those wings of the mother's love. And I was stunned at the recognition. As I came back to journaling from that, it was a bit challenging to continue with the journal I'd stepped out in the midst of. I thought of just abandoning it so I could share this with you. It was that powerful. Still, I did manage to finish the previous one. One goes into heart for such things, not letting mind decide. Heavens, my friend, if I let my mind write these things, well, they would be entirely different things, that's certain. And without that touch of divinity, well, I won't write them. I won't share it. What's that to share anyway? It's just the same mind that's out there everywhere. We all share that mind, though we don't know or recognize it quite yet. We may not have the hive or the group mind like some insects and insectoid beings do, and some fish and maybe some birds. I don't know, when they move as one. I don't know. But we share the same mind all the same. We're all quite telepathic. We're just shielded from seeing or understanding that until we're ready for it. It feels like an invasion at first. Sometimes, not always. All that's being all that's being invaded really is our own false sense of privacy. And at some point, we see that. All of our beliefs must come tumbling down, my friends. And that is the way I see it. Each and every one of them, none of them are worthy of retaining. No, not one. Remember, Byron Katie is perhaps the best teacher of this, and she proves it. She lives in heart and simply proves how all thoughts of the mind are nothing but falsehoods. Oh dear, and I just lost my place. There we go. So, I'll close by saying that yes, we will have thoughts. We have minds, and that's just what they do. They think. That's not the issue, though, nor the problem. The problem comes when we believe in those thoughts. That's where the issue lies. Please try to see this. Thoughts are not bad, even terrible ones. Just don't believe them, and you're just fine. So what if it sounds crazy? I put to you that it's today's society that is quite mad. Sanity must be in major contrast to that. So it's quite natural that really sane things would sound crazy from the current paradigm. Well, jettison that. Come on in, into heart. The water's just fine.